So at what point, either during production or following production of The Little Mermaid, did you realize you had a home run here and really the impact the film was going to have? Was there a lot of buzz during production around the studio that you were really onto something, or was it not until the studio or the film was done that you knew what you had?
The one thing that I think we always knew we had, we loved the music from the first time we heard it. And that sustained all the way through production, and all the artists who were working on it loved the music, and Jeffrey Katzenberg loved the music. That meant nothing that, the audience, the public was going to like it. We generally didn't share it with the public until right near when it was nearly finished. We did have a public preview at the AMC in Burbank, a theater. We took it out to a theater, still in black and white, like many of these that you see. And we showed it to a family audience. We showed it to an all-adult audience, and it went over hugely well. And in fact, maybe better with the all-adult audience than with the kid audience. And Jeffrey Katzenberg walked out of that screening. I still remember this look. He just looked like he was in a daze almost, because I think he was so set, because earlier than that, we had heard Jeffrey talking to Michael. I was in a meeting with Jeffrey where he got a call from Michael asking how was the movie going. This was before that. He said, yeah, it's going fine. We're going to punch it up a little bit, we're going to do this and that. But Jeffrey told me at the meeting, along with Maureen Donnelly, our production lead, that Little Mermaid was not going to do as well as Oliver, because it was a girls' movie, and girls' movies don't do as well as boys' movies, so Oliver was a boy, so that did better. And it's okay, that's okay. It's not bad that it's going to be that way. So Jeffrey was sort of writing it off as like, this is a girls' movie. But then once we had this preview, and he saw how well it played to young and old and dating audiences and all that, suddenly he realized, wait a minute, I could market this to a bigger swath of humanity. So they developed an adult marketing campaign where they did the silhouette of the mermaid as well as the kind of all-character poster. Even then, we still didn't really know what the public accepted. We were just trying to make the movie.
I was going to just add, before that, I'd say the movie started with a lot of momentum because actually Jeffrey really liked the script. When we turned in the script, Jeffrey was very enthusiastic about the script. And Jeffrey, as we learned later, you can't overreact to that because he tends to be very hot or very cold. I mean, he's nowhere in the middle. It's like, anything you submit to Jeffrey Katzenberg would either be like, this is the greatest script that's ever been written in the history, or this is just a piece of crap and it's just burn it. Nothing in between. And fortunately with Mermaid, it was like the greatest script that had ever been written in history. But close to that. I mean, he was really enthusiastic and he loved the songs and everything went well. But then there comes a point where we sort of put it all together for the first time internally. We put it on story reels. Animation hasn't been done yet, but it's kind of like still images, if you've ever seen how these things are presented with temporary tracks and temporary music. It's kind of very crude. It's very crude. And when we showed that to Jeffrey for the first time, when he saw the movie in its very early stage for the first time, his reaction was, I love the script. I love the songs. I don't love this. Why don't I love this? And we explained to him a little bit, because he was from Paramount. This is new, is you can't totally judge this the same as a finished movie because it hasn't even been animated yet. You're seeing just still drawings, and I think he was coming from Paramount where they did just Beverly Hills Cop just came out, and we were saying, imagine Beverly Hills Cop, and if you took that movie, even with the soundtrack that's there, but took out all the images and just put in still drawings, it's not going to quite feel the same. And unfortunately, he had sort of reservations at that point, and then we made changes. There's definitely, with any of these things, we made changes that are made all the way, and there were improvements, but it sort of held together. There were some scary moments. The scariest moment, which some people have heard about, when before this preview, when we previewed in a theater, a few months before that, the first time we showed it for any outside audiences, we brought in some school kids to screen the film, which was a standard thing there, just to see it with kids. This was where the film was in a very early stage, and during the song Part of Your World, I think some kid dropped his popcorn or something happened and there was a disturbance. And anyway, through the whole song, Part of Your World, the kids were just making noise and they were sort of disruptive and they seemed inattentive. And the sequence was black and white, it wasn't in color, it was rough animation. But after that, Jeffrey was like, we have to cut that song. That just doesn't work. I mean, and we were shocked and Howard was shocked, and we really didn't want to cut that song. And we knew the story about the Wizard of Oz, that they had, after an early screening of the Wizard of Oz, they had talked about cutting over the rainbow from the Wizard of Oz, and we used that story sort of as an example with this, and then Jeffrey said, well, you've at least got to cut part of it. If you don't cut the whole song, you at least got to cut part of it. But we really didn't want to do that, and Howard didn't want to do that, but nobody could talk Jeffrey out of it except Glenn Keane, the animator who animated Part of Your World. He called Jeffrey, and he was who passionately went on the carpet and they were yelling at each other, but finally Glenn convinced Jeffrey to at least leave it in the movie and let us screen it with an audience one more time. And the next time we screened it, it was more in color now, and it had some of the water effects, and the kids didn't make a sound. So it stayed in the movie, and we're very happy that it did.